The Kingdom of Jerusalem was from 1099 to 1291. The city of Jerusalem fell to the Crusader forces on July 15th of 1099. The first leader of the newly formed kingdom was Godfrey of Bouillon, who used the title Defender of the Holy Sepulchre. Godfrey established a system of vassalage with many states under his control. The city of Jerusalem and its surrounding area was the most holy region for Christianity. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre housed both the location of the crucifixion of Jesus and his burial. Other important sites were the tomb of the Virgin Mary, the Mount of Olives, and the Way of the Cross. Under the rule of Baldwin the First, the Kingdom of Jerusalem further expanded, capturing the cities of Acre, Beirut, and Sidon. The establishment of orders like the Knights Templar and Knights Hospitaller provided additional support for expanding and protecting the kingdom. At its height, the kingdom saw a large number of pilgrims from Europe and the Middle East. The kingdom's people were a mix of Frankish Crusaders, native Christians, Muslims, and Jews. Within a few generations, these Frankish Crusaders viewed Jerusalem as their new homeland, while maintaining many Frankish traditions. The kingdom's first sign of decline came in 1132 when Antioch, Edessa, and Tripoli revolted against King Fulk V of Anjou. The fall of Edessa in 1144 and the Second Crusade further hurt the stability of Jerusalem. From 1174 to 1185, the young king of Jerusalem, Baldwin the Leper, led a thriving kingdom and protected it from Saladin, the Sultan of Egypt. In 1187, the Crusaders suffered a devastating defeat to Saladin at the Battle of Hattin. Soon after, he took control of Jerusalem. Most of the citizens fled to nearby states or were captured and sold into slavery. Crusaders moved the capital city to Acre. The Teutonic Knights were founded in 1190 in Acre, although their influence in the kingdom was relatively small compared to their massive expansion into northern Europe. In the Third Crusade from 1189 to 1192, King Richard the Lionheart and King Philip II succeeded at capturing the coast, but not the interior of the Kingdom of Jerusalem. The Venetians started to wield more influence in the region during this time. In 1229, Emperor Frederick II, the Holy Roman Emperor, signed the Treaty of Jaffa. Part of the treaty gave Latin rulers control of Jerusalem, but they were not to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. The treaty was considered unpopular by both Christians and Muslims at the time because of the concessions both sides made. From 1228 to 1243, all of the Holy Land found itself embroiled in the War of the Lombards. European kingdoms were hesitant to fund more crusades due to constant infighting of these kingdoms. By the 1250s, the Mongols had emerged in the region. They allied themselves with the Crusaders against the Mamluks and Ayyubids. In the Seventh Crusade, King Louis IX of France did not succeed in conquering Egypt. Another civil war, the War of St. Sabas in 1260, further hurt the stability of the kingdom. At the Siege of Acre in 1291, the Mamluk Sultanate defeated the Crusader forces, taking their last stronghold. This was the end of the Kingdom of Jerusalem. The Principality of Antioch was from 1098 to 1268. Antioch was captured in the First Crusade after the Siege of Antioch. About 20,000 people lived in the Principality. Nearly all of them were Armenian and Greek Christians, while the nobility were mostly Normans. The first leader was Bohemond of Antioch, a Norman nobleman and the son of Robert Guiscard. Bohemond quickly expanded the territory, even fighting against the Byzantine Empire. Antioch became known for its territorial disputes and conflict with neighboring kingdoms. His nephew Tancred served as a regent for many years and refused to give up Antioch to the Byzantine Empire. Bohemond's son became the Prince of Antioch after his father's death in 1111. Normans would continue to rule Antioch until its fall. In 1260, Bohemond VI made the Principality a vassal state to the Mongols in exchange for peace. However, the Mongols were defeated by the Mamluks who took control of Antioch in 1268. The county of Edessa was from 1098 to 1144. Edessa was captured in the First Crusade, led by Baldwin I. His father was Eustace II, an advisor to William the Conqueror, who commissioned the Bayeux Tapestry. When Baldwin became the king of Jerusalem in 1100, the title Count of Edessa was passed on to his cousin, Baldwin II. The last count was Jocelyn I, who ruled from 1131 to 1144. Edessa was the only Crusader state to be landlocked. The Tigris and Euphrates River ran through the territory. About 10,000 people lived in Edessa. They were mostly Armenian, Assyrian, and Greek Christians. There was a small amount of Muslims and Latin Crusaders as well. Edessa would fall in 1144 to the Zengids, led by Ahmad al-Din Zengi. In the Second Crusade, there was an attempt to retake the county with no success. The county of Tripoli was from 1102 to 1289. Raymond IV of Toulouse first took the city of Tardis in 1102. He died in 1105, and a Crusader army took Tripoli in 1109. By 1118, Bertrand, the Count of Tripoli, swore an allegiance to King Baldwin I of Jerusalem. The early counts had a strong alliance with the Byzantine Empire compared to other Crusader states. Tripoli was known for its mountains and some impressive fortresses and castles like the Citadel of Tripoli and Crac des Chevaliers. Through the 12th century, multiple earthquakes would damage these structures and the rest of Tripoli. The Knights Templar and Knights Hospitallers were crucial for the security of the county. Tripoli was also a cultural center for Maronite Christians. From 1189 to 1289, Bohemond's descendants ruled both Antioch and Tripoli. In 1289, Sultan Kalawan of the Mamluks conquered Tripoli, razed the city, and ended the county. The Kingdom of Cyprus lasted from 1192 to 1489. During the Third Crusade in 1191, King Richard the Lionheart's sister Joan and his bride, Berengaria, were shipwrecked on the coast along with other nobility. The ruler of Cyprus, Isaac Komnenos, held them hostage. This would be a big mistake. King Richard and his army arrived soon after and defeated the Cypriot forces. The nobility swore an allegiance to him. Komnenos was captured and imprisoned. In 1192, King Richard sold the island to the Knights Templar, but it was traded back after the Cypriots revolted. Guy of Lusignan, the former king of Jerusalem, became the Lord of Cyprus in 1192. Under Crusader rule, Cyprus was a common place for pilgrims to stop on their way to the Holy Land. They were known for their pottery, sugar, wheat, and carob. The population were mostly Orthodox Greek Cypriots, Maronites, Armenians, and Syrians. The Frankish nobility, Italians, and other European groups were about 25% of the population. Cyprus became a tributary state to the Mamluks in 1426. Their last leader was Queen Catherine Cornaro, who sold the island to the Venetians in 1489. In 1204, the Latin Crusaders captured Constantinople, the center of the Byzantine Empire. The Crusaders were promised financial and military aid from Alexios IV if they restored his family's rule. Despite Alexios and his father Isaac ruling for a brief period, they did not receive the aid that was promised. This resulted in the Latin rulers taking control of the empire. The first Latin emperor was Baldwin I. The ruling class were mainly Frankish and Venetians, while most of the Greeks were stripped of their bureaucratic positions. The people were mostly Greek Orthodox, with a large number of Catholic monks. The Latin Empire had a strong alliance with the Venetians. An elected official in charge of the Venetian possessions throughout the empire was called the Podesta of Constantinople. The Latin Empire went to war against the neighboring kingdoms like the Empire of Nicaea and the Empire of Trebizond, ruled by Byzantine nobility in exile. They also fought the Bulgarians. The empire struggled with food shortages and a breakdown in trade routes throughout the region. The empire requested aid from the papacy and other European kingdoms, but received little help. There was an unsuccessful siege of Constantinople in 1235 and another in 1260. In 1261, Emperor Michael VIII of the Empire of Nicaea captured Constantinople. A group of roughly 800 Greek soldiers gained entrance to the city through a secret tunnel. They quickly took control of the walls, and the Latin ruling class fled the city. The Byzantines were back in power, ending the Latin Empire. The Kingdom of Thessalonica was from 1204 to 1224. Its first leader, Boniface of Montferrat, was killed in 1207. His son Demetrius was still a baby, so a group of Lombard nobility ruled in his place. They openly opposed the Latin Empire and were defeated by the Despotate of Epirus in 1224. The Duchy of Athens was from 1205 to 1458. Its first leader was Otto de la Roche, a Burgundian knight. The La Roche family would rule Athens until 1308. The Duke of Athens used the Acropolis buildings as a palace. The Parthenon became the Catholic Church of St. Mary. The duchy swore an allegiance to Charles I, the King of Sicily, in 1267. In 1308, Walter IV of Brienne used the Catalan Company to take Athens, and became the Duke. In 1379, the Navarrese Company conquered part of the duchy. In 1388, the Accioli family of Florence captured Athens. From 1395 to 1402, the Venetians seized power. The duchy was finally defeated in 1458 by the Ottomans and absorbed into their empire. The Principality of Achaea was from 1205 to 1454. In 1205, the region of Peloponnesus was conquered by William of Chaplet and Geoffroy I. This was done on the behalf of Boniface of Montferrat, the king of Thessalonica. Both of their sons would eventually rule the principality. Geoffroy II ruled from 1209 to 1245. He took money from the Catholic Church to fund a large castle and was excommunicated. From 1245 to 1278, William II oversaw the peak of the principality with a flourishing economy. In 1267, William II swore an allegiance to King Charles I of Sicily. After King Charles, Achaea would be ruled by a series of European nobility until the 15th century. In 1454, Thomas Palaiologos officially conquered the principality, absorbing it into the Despot of Morea. After the fall of Acre in 1291, the Knights Hospitaller, a Catholic military order, were looking for new headquarters. By 1310, Fulk de Villaret, the Grand Master of the Knights Hospitaller, had conquered the Greek island of Rhodes. They built one of Europe's most impressive castles, the Palace of the Grand Master. The order fended off attacks from Barbary pirates and assisted in campaigns like the Smyrniot Crusade. They defended themselves from Ottoman sieges in 1444 and 1480. However, Rhodes would fall in 1522 to the Ottoman Empire, led by Solomon the Magnificent. In 1530, the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V gave the order the islands of Malta, Gozo, and the lands of Tripoli in present-day Libya. In the Siege of Malta in 1565, the Order of St. John, led by Grand Master Jean de Valette, defeated the Ottomans. Despite being 70 years old, Valette led the order against what was seen as an impossible force. This victory made Valette a hero throughout Christendom, and their capital city would be named after him. Although short-lived, the order expanded, taking control of the Caribbean islands of St. Christopher, St. Martin, St. Bartholomew, and St. Croix from 1661 to 1665. In 1798, Hospitaller Malta was captured by the French. From 1800 to 1964, Malta was under the rule of the British. Although the Order of St. John no longer controls Malta, they still have influence throughout the island, and their history is well preserved.